You thought healing would feel like peace, like a warm light, like everything suddenly getting better. But what if healing first feels like breaking? What if healing looks like isolation, tears, silence, and being misunderstood? What if the real healing is happening when no one claps for it? When your body feels tired for no reason? When your emotions seem raw and unexplainable? When you lose the desire to explain yourself to anyone? Because what's healing in you isn't just your heart, it's your identity, it's your mission, it's your connection to God. There is a portal of healing open now. And it's not about fixing you, it's about preparing you. This isn't a recovery, it's a redefinition. And if you've felt like something invisible is being pulled out of you, if you've been quieter than usual, more sensitive, more distant, then you're not falling apart. You're realigning. Because the ones who carry the greatest assignments must be healed at the deepest levels. This portal is for you, and it won't come twice. You asked for healing, but what arrived felt like breaking. You asked for peace, but what you received was silence, distance, and a deep, aching fatigue that no one could explain. You expected the light of God to show up like a miracle, but instead, it came like a scalpel, cutting, revealing, digging deeper than your comfort. And here's the truth. Healing for the chosen ones almost never looks like healing at first. Because it's not cosmetic, it's not emotional fluff, it's not for applause, it's surgical, it's internal, it's spiritual, in ways the world can't comprehend. What you're going through now is not a punishment, it's not a delay, it's a divine reconstruction. You're not being healed in the way others use that word, you're being rewritten. Because chosen ones don't just carry wounds, they carry callings. And for the calling to emerge, the wound must first be opened, not covered, not ignored, not rushed, opened, exposed, breathed into by the Spirit of God Himself. Have you noticed the weight in your chest when you wake up? The tears that come for no reason? The sudden need to be alone, not because you're sad, but because your soul is busy? That's not depression. That's not confusion. That's not failure. That's divine realignment. You're being pulled back into yourself. Not the version that adapted, that played small, that tolerated too much, but the version that God always saw, before the pain, before the masks, before the noise. And here's something few will understand. Before healing feels like strength. It feels like weakness. Before it feels like peace. It feels like isolation. Before it feels like clarity. It feels like everything is unraveling. Because true healing doesn't start with joy. It starts with truth. And the truth is, you've carried too much for too long. You've protected everyone else while your own soul was bleeding. You've walked through fire after fire and smiled as if you were untouched. But now, God is not asking you to be strong. He's asking you to be available for His correction, available for His stillness, available for the unglamorous, invisible, sacred process of healing that only the called must go through. He's not asking you to impress anyone. He's asking you to surrender to the process no one sees but heaven honors. This is what healing looks like when it's real. It removes the lies you didn't know you were believing. It interrupts cycles you thought were normal. It makes your body feel tired because your soul is finally doing the work. That is why the people around you can't understand what you're going through. Because this healing is not for them. It's not for explanation. It's not for validation. It's a personal contract between you and the divine. So if your world is quiet right now, if your spirit feels exposed, if your body feels like it's recovering from a battle you never saw, then you're not lost. You're not broken. You're healing, and it's working. But this time, the healing won't just soothe your pain. It will prepare your assignment. Because what's coming will require a version of you that's no longer afraid to be whole, no longer addicted to survival, no longer waiting for permission to shine. This is sacred. This is private. This is holy ground. and you are standing in the middle of it. Something is happening inside you that has no name, no diagnosis, no clear explanation. You try to describe it, but your words fall short. You say you're tired, but it's not your body. You say you're anxious, but it's not fear. You say you're lost, but you're actually being led somewhere sacred, somewhere language hasn't reached yet. This is what it feels like when a soul starts to reorganize itself. Not because you want it to, but because God is initiating something through you that your mind wasn't supposed to control. You're not going backwards. You're not breaking down. You're restructuring. And yes, it comes with symptoms. There are days when your energy collapses without warning, where even the smallest interaction drains you like you've been running marathons in the spirit. There are moments you cry without knowing why, laugh at strange times, feel grief and joy within the same breath. You're not unstable. You're not malfunctioning. You're becoming. God is pulling your inner architecture apart, not to destroy you, but to rearrange the walls that no longer protect, only trap. He's pulling pieces of your identity out of hiding and asking, is this still you? Do you still need this belief? Do you still want to carry this? And when the soul begins to release what no longer fits, it doesn't feel like freedom at first. It feels like floating without a map, like shedding your skin before the new one grows, like standing in a space where all your old prayers are answered by silence. Because heaven is waiting for your new ones. That's why you feel distant from things that once lit you up. That's why conversations that once excited you now leave you numb. That's why you look around and wonder where the old version of you went. She's gone. He's gone. And they're not coming back, because you're being moved into the version of you that doesn't just cope, but commands the space God gave you. This isn't a phase. This isn't burnout. This isn't a low season. It's a holy disassembly of everything that was keeping your gifts in a cage. And it's happening from the inside out. You've noticed it, haven't you? Your intuition is sharper. Your boundaries are firmer. Your desire to explain yourself is fading. You've stopped trying to convince people to see your heart, because now you're learning how to protect it instead. You've stopped trying to rush God's process, because now you understand that divine timing is not slow, it's strategic. And slowly beneath the symptoms, you're hearing it. That faint pulse of alignment beneath the chaos. That quiet sense that you're being put back together in a new order, one that only heaven understands. You're not who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. And that in-between space is where most people quit. But you stayed. You're still here, still breathing, still showing up, even with the fatigue, even with the spiritual noise, even with the soul-rearranging aches that no one else sees. You're not broken. You're in construction. And when it's over, you won't just feel better. You'll become better, because you're not being fixed. You're being revealed. This is the version of you that can hold the next level, that can discern the unseen, that doesn't chase healing as a feeling, but as a function of your walk with God. And the world won't understand it. That's okay. It's not for them. This reorganization is for the mission, for the people you were called to impact, for the path that requires a soul that doesn't just survive pain, but turns it into power. What's leaving you now was never part of your mission. Some things are falling away from you, and it feels personal. But what if it's not? What if what's leaving you right now isn't meant to be mourned, but finally released? Not everything that walked beside you was meant to walk with you into the next version of your calling. Not every attachment was part of your assignment. Not every connection came from covenant. Some came from comfort. And now, that comfort is being taken away, because the mission you carry is heavier than the false layers that were never yours to begin with. You've probably asked lately, why is this person drifting away? Why does that opportunity suddenly feel off? Why do I feel like I don't belong to my old spaces anymore? Because you don't. What's leaving you now was only necessary for your survival. But this next chapter? It's about purpose, and survival tools don't fit in the atmosphere of divine calling. This is why certain things are shaking, not to punish you, but to extract what was borrowed. Yes, borrowed identities, borrowed values, borrowed timelines that you picked up just to feel safe, just to fit in, just to move forward when you were lost. But now God is saying, you don't need that anymore. You never did. And so the release begins. But release is not always peaceful. Sometimes it feels like betrayal, like sudden endings, like unanswered texts and confusing transitions, like waking up one day and feeling completely disconnected from the very thing you were once praying to keep. Let it go, because it was never truly yours, not in the eternal sense, not in the sacred blueprint of your soul. It was passing through, not planted. This is the moment where the sacred separation begins. And separation isn't rejection, it's redirection. It's a clearing of spiritual clutter, a divine filtration system that only leaves behind what is aligned with your real assignment. So if something is leaving, if someone is disconnecting, if your own heart is quietly detaching from things you once clung to, let it happen. Let the energetic threads unravel. Let the soul contracts dissolve. Let the echoes of old identities fade into silence. You are not being emptied, you are being purified. Because God doesn't want just a part of you in alignment. He wants your whole field clean, your whole spirit alert, your whole energy undiluted. And to get there, He's allowing things to fall away that you might have still been holding with trembling hands. But here's the truth. If you have to grip it, it's not grace. Grace doesn't require strain, it flows, it aligns, it expands without force. And if what you're losing required force to maintain, then maybe it was blocking the very thing you've been asking for. You don't need to fight to keep anything that is truly part of your mission, because what's yours in the kingdom is sealed, not stolen. So trust this extraction. Trust the silence between release and replacement. Trust the ache of letting go, even when there's no obvious blessing yet. You are not being punished. You are being refined. And you'll know you're getting closer to alignment. When peace starts to arrive without needing a reason. When your spirit feels lighter, even in the unknown. When clarity shows up not through logic, but through stillness. You'll feel it, the unclenching of your soul, the soft return of self-trust, the quiet hum of purpose rising in your chest. Because what's leaving you now was never part of your real mission. It was just what you used to get by. But God didn't call you to get by. He called you to transform atmospheres. And to do that, you must be clean of everything that isn't part of your essence. You're shedding the unnecessary. You're releasing the noise. You're walking lighter. And you don't even realize how heavy you were until you start to float again. Let it go. How to protect your healing from interference. Your healing is sacred, but it's not always safe from interference. Not because you're weak, not because you're failing, but because your healing is light. And light always attracts attention in the invisible. Every time you rise, you shine. Every time you shed what doesn't belong, you glow stronger. And every time you reconnect with your original divine essence, something out there, or someone, notices. Some people don't even know why they're suddenly uncomfortable around you. Some energies don't even realize why they want to distract you, or call you back to the version you already left behind. It's not conscious, it's spiritual. Your evolution disrupts the frequencies of those who are still choosing delay. And if you're not spiritually aware of this, you'll begin to doubt your own healing, thinking it must not be real, or must not be working, simply because it's getting harder. But let me speak this over you clearly. It's getting harder because it's getting realer. The closer you get to wholeness, the more interference tries to sneak in, subtly, gently, innocently. That message from someone who used to mirror your pain. That invite to go somewhere you already outgrew. That feeling of obligation towards someone who hasn't done the work you've done. That sudden guilt when you set a boundary that feels like peace, but sounds like rejection to others. These are tests, not to see if you're strong, but to see if you're spiritually precise. The real war is not over your light, it's over your focus. Because where your focus goes, your healing either solidifies or fractures. So how do you protect it? First, guard your silence. You don't have to explain your process to those who haven't entered it. You don't need to post about it. You don't need external validation. What's sacred is often hidden first. Jesus healed in the quiet. Miracles happened in the still places. Revelation arrived in the desert, not in the crowd. The same applies to you. Your healing doesn't need applause. It needs protection. Second, listen to your body. Healing isn't just spiritual. It's physical, emotional, cellular. If your body tightens in someone's presence, that's a message. If you feel tired after certain conversations, that's a message. If your breath becomes shallow around a familiar place, that's not random. You don't need to overthink it. You need to honor it. Your body is not betraying you. It's your guardian now. Third, stop proving you've changed. You don't need to go back to old situations to demonstrate that you're different now. The real evidence is in your absence. Your silence is louder than any declaration. Your distance speaks more clearly than a speech. Your peace is your proof. Protect your healing by not re-entering the storm you already survived, just to prove you can swim again. You already passed that test. And finally, cover yourself in prayer. But not the prayer of desperation, the prayer of alignment. The kind that says, God, don't let me drift back into what you already delivered me from. Protect my light not from darkness, but from distraction. Make me sensitive to when I'm being pulled into someone else's delay. Because the most dangerous attacks don't always come with noise. They come wrapped in familiarity. A familiar voice, a familiar pain, a familiar sense of guilt, trying to keep you in spiritual contracts that your soul already ended. You're not obligated to go back to what hurt you. You're not selfish for choosing peace. You're not unkind for declining what feels off. You are chosen. You are healing. And now you must defend that healing like it's the future of your mission. Because it is. God is restoring you for a purpose. And that purpose is not up for compromise. If you've been feeling more sensitive, more tired, more guarded, it's not regression. It's spiritual intelligence awakening in you. The more you heal, the more you must filter what you allow in. Because now you carry not only pain that has been transformed, but light that has a destination. You are not here just to feel better. You are here to anchor heaven into earth. And for that, your healing must be protected like fire in a storm. What this healing is preparing you for. This healing isn't just about fixing what was broken. It's about building what never existed before. You thought you were just healing wounds. But heaven is actually preparing you for divine functionality, not just restoration. You're being positioned for something sacred, and the healing is only the beginning. You don't realize it yet, but everything you've gone through was never random. That season of silence, that deep spiritual pain, the isolation, the betrayals, the exhaustion, even the confusion. It wasn't life falling apart, it was your preparation being built in secret. And here's the truth no one talks about. Some people are healed to go back to normal life, but not the chosen. Not you. You're being healed to carry something bigger. Your body isn't just recovering, it's recalibrating. Your mind isn't just clearing, it's being rewired to receive instructions from realms beyond logic. Your spirit isn't just lighter, it's being tuned to frequencies you never had access to before. Because what's coming isn't for the faint of heart. What's coming will require a level of discernment, power, humility, and alignment that only healed vessels can hold. Do you feel that? The heaviness that doesn't come from depression, but from responsibility, the spiritual weight of what you're about to carry. Because some of you are not just being healed, you are being consecrated. This is why the healing process has felt so disorienting at times. It's not just about pain leaving, it's about purpose entering. God is cleaning out the old to make space for something new and holy. You're not being reset, you're being rebuilt. Your sleep has changed. Your body is reacting differently to foods, to people, to spaces. Your nervous system is more sensitive. Your heart gets stirred at strange moments. This is preparation. You're being taught how to carry energy, light, truth, without being crushed by it. Because what's coming next requires a body that can hold frequency without burning out, a mind that can recognize truth in a world of illusions, a spirit that doesn't collapse under pressure. Your healing is your training ground. It's where God strengthens what was once fragile, where He makes firm what was once confused, where He forges a weapon out of what was once a wound. Do you see it? The places in you that were once full of pain, they are now the launching pads for your purpose. The sadness you carried is becoming discernment. The loneliness is becoming spiritual solitude. The tears are becoming intercession. The silence is becoming strategy. You're not being healed for yourself only. You're being healed for assignments, for missions, for others. God doesn't waste any pain, not 1 second of it. That storm that almost took you out, it will become the testimony that brings someone else through theirs. That darkness that made you question everything, it will become the portal of wisdom you carry into every room. That ache that wouldn't let you sleep at night, it was your spirit mourning the version of you that couldn't go where you're going. Because yes, this healing is preparing you for your next season. But it's also preparing you to lead, to guide, to speak, to serve, to intercede in a way you never have before. You won't need a title. You won't need recognition. You'll just walk into a space, and the atmosphere will shift, because your very presence will carry the frequency of wholeness, of divine order, of sacred clarity. You won't need to explain yourself anymore. Your healing will speak, your peace will preach, your stillness will lead, your light will expose, and your body, your very body, will become a temple of encoded instruction. Because healing is not the end, it's the beginning. It's the whisper before the instruction. It's the clearing before the voice of God speaks. It's the silence before the assignment is released. So yes, this healing may feel quiet now. You may not know where it's leading. You may still be aching in places that haven't caught up yet. But you are not behind. You're right on time. And what's being built in you will soon be revealed through you. This healing isn't just about you. It never was. You thought you were falling apart, but you were being rebuilt. Not to return to who you were, but to rise into what you were always meant to become. This healing is your alignment with the future that's already been written in the Spirit. And here's what you must understand now, not later. God is not healing your wounds so you can go back to a peaceful life. He's healing them because your presence will soon be required in rooms that are not peaceful, in battles that are not visible, in moments that will demand your clarity, your stillness, your power. You are not being softened. You are being sharpened in grace. You are being shaped into a vessel that will carry something that the world cannot give and cannot take away. Every shift in your sleep, every unexpected emotion, every quiet moment you couldn't explain, was part of the recalibration, because your gift, your voice, your energy, your presence, they are needed now. Not when you're perfect, not when you feel ready, but when your healing teaches you to be present, open, and available to God in every moment. There's a reason it was so hard. There's a reason it took so long. There's a reason it was so deep. The magnitude of what you're about to carry required a sacred foundation. And now, it's ready. You've been asking, when will it be my time? When will I finally see what all of this was for? And heaven answers, it begins now. Because healing is not passive. It's a call, a release, a divine permission to move forward, carrying only what truly matters. And what truly matters is what survived the fire, what stayed with you when everything else left, what kept whispering when everything else was silent. That's your assignment. That's your gift. That's your frequency. Let go of the need to be understood. Let go of the fear of being too much. Let go of the guilt for healing when others stayed broken. You are not responsible for who couldn't come. You are responsible for what heaven placed in you. So walk forward. Even if your knees still tremble, even if your voice still shakes, even if your past still tries to whisper doubt. Walk. Because this healing was not random, it was not soft, it was not easy. It was divine, it was intentional, and it was on time. The world may never understand what it cost you to heal, but the Spirit does, and it's already aligning everything around you to reflect that inner shift. So don't wait for permission, don't wait for applause, don't wait for a sign. You are the sign. Your healing is the message. Your energy is the confirmation. Your walk is the evidence. What's coming is greater, but only those who are prepared will recognize it. And now, you are prepared, because you didn't just survive, you listened, you surrendered, you chose truth. And that's why this healing wasn't the end of your pain. It was the beginning of your mission.